Before we get started today, I just want to recognize our sponsors who help make today possible. Lois Mans with Farmers Insurance, Greg Mans with Upright Construction, Adam Dregge with Complete Realty Solutions, Jason Hudson, Red Maples Construction, and our newest vendor, Nate Tomlin with the Tomlin Heating and Air. If you guys know anybody who has a question about real estate that we could solve, please contact us here at Restore STL so we could talk. If you want to wake up, take control of your life, and use real estate effectively to build a purposeful future, please check out our upcoming arena programs. And now, today's episode of The Kevin Duragi Show. Hey, friends, it's Kevin Duragi. Welcome to The Kevin Duragi Show. Today, our special guest is Dana Gray. She is fantastic. She is truly a wonderful person here in St. Louis. She has blended a lot of I'd say her mission is part, entrepreneur, but it's also part giving back. So call it nonprofit, call it what you want. But she really is out there using her knowledge of real estate to turn around and help others. And as we'll find out, it's through some of her forging moments, right? Some of her bad days that really some of the asking for help and giving back really comes from. So, guys, let us jump in and find out a lot more about our new friend, Dana Gray. Here we go. All right. Good morning, Dana. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Kevin?
Good, good. I got my little coffee here. I see you have yours as well. So Jake has known Dana Gray here for several years. It is fun to get introduced to people I don't have full depth with, but some of our team, our tribe does. So he highly respects you and thinks you're fantastic. So I am excited, Dana, to unpack some of these things and kind of see where you've been and how much help you've been to so many people. So, Dana, I know you've been a powerhouse in this world here in St. Louis. You've been highly involved in a lot of nonprofits and things like that. But how did you get into real estate in the beginning? If you could roll it back, how did you get into this side of it?
I believe that it started um like after the 2008 stock market crash.
Hmm.
Um I had invested in the stock market and watched all of that disappear.
Oh,
And so I decided with whatever resources I had remaining, I wanted something tangible that I could have some control over, something that wasn't going to go away at the whim of a board of directors with whom I had no relationship and no um, connection or ability to direct in any way. So that's how it got started, and it started with purchasing my my own home where I wanted to buy a duplex.
mhm.
So the plan was initially to buy a rental property from the get-go, to have a home that would also generate revenue to help pay the mortgage and expenses. Yeah, so that's how it started. And it turned out though that the home that we bought, it was being sold as a duplex. It's an American four square, and it had been divided very poorly into a multifamily. And so after we purchased, my husband and I gutted it and rehabbed the property back to a single family home. And so um, then after that, I bought another property, I don't know, within a 2-year probably. I had to recover from that arduous rehab project because we did the bulk of the work ourselves. We pretty much took a leave from our income producing work for 6 months to focus on rehabbing the house ourselves so that we could control the cost as much as possible and do small things that were out of the norm to make the house just like we wanted.
Were you living in it at the time or were you living somewhere else?
We were living somewhere else for the first 6 months, and then we moved in and kind of camped on the 3rd floor, which was the least dusty
Yep.
area of the house. Um, but the windows were still rattling and, yeah, it was camping.
So that is, well, fantastic, and, like, I hear how much, durability you have through that 'cause, I was a GC and then obviously, as an investor, and my wife's like, "We've always been living in a project. There's always a rehab that we're living in." I'm like, "Sorry." Like, that's what you get here sometimes. So it is, I get it, and it's tough, and drywall dust is a real thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
plaster dust as well. A
and
little
it's
more
hard
gritty.
to ever really relax when you're living in the project. Um, so that's I mean, we call that house hacking, right? Getting a duplex, living on one, having the other one pay for it. If I would do it again, I would start with house hacking. Just a great way to start. We were talking about it before we started, but my son is 18, he's either looking at going to college, which is great. Again, I don't think college is what it is back in our ages. Like it's changed.
Right.
Um, or he could like if he doesn't go to college and wants to work, he's an intern with us now. But it's like, dude, like, I'd love to keep you home, but, like, you need a house hack. You need to go get a property, whether it's
Mhm,
a house and you rent it to some students, whether it's that's how I would do it if I was your age.
mhm.
Own it
Well,
for
and
a few
many
years and get going.
many of the trades are offering paid internships to folks as young as those in high school, and they will even, purchase the clothing and, steel-toed boots that are necessary for job sites, and the so much of our culture has over the last 20, 30 years been emphasizing the critical need for college education that we are now all facing a shortage of the skilled trades. And we, as the AI industry is becoming more prevalent, a lot of college educated folks are gonna lose their jobs, but the plumbers, the electricians, the the skilled carpenters, they are not going to be put out of work by AI. They
Mhm.
will always have work, and they get paid a good salary, so, um, I'm encouraging young folks to go into the trades and consider that at least as an option, and then just as you're suggesting to your son, um, that would be a foot up in that and you have some skilled training in the trades to invest in real estate and understand the construction industry and the process of renovation or repairs, remodeling, and it would certainly be beneficial.
Hands down, hands down. So where do you tell the young folks? So I'm on one of the boards here at a high school, like, career advisory council is what it's called. But I have a degree, right?
Mhm,
But I'm actually advocating the other way, and it's one of those like, "Hey, like, I have a piece of paper. It really hasn't done anything." Like,
mhm,
I have a way of thinking, etcetera, that it did help. It was the fraternity and really just real life experience while I was at college that really helped me transition.
mhm,
A lot of people are running like, I'm thinking of a guy, he's in his 20s. He's like, "Kevin, I was gonna go to college and go with business. Instead, I started a business, and
mhm.
now he's probably the age he would be popping out, but now he has, like, $1,000,000 businesses, like 2 or 3 that are really good, and it's like, well, do you want a degree in business or do you wanna start a business? Like, how do
Right.
you actually learn this stuff?
Yeah,
And then you take it more seriously when you're like, "Oh, okay, I need to understand what my books looks like. Tell me about finance." Instead of, "I'm gonna read all this stuff that I'm probably never gonna use and move on." I guess I'm a practical fellow, so
right. It's learning by doing as opposed to reading. But I do agree that college and university studies certainly has value, and I feel the thing that I gained most from my college degree and experience is learning how to learn.
oh, good. Where'd you go to college, Dana?
Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo, my niece went there. That's a great place.
Yeah.
What'd you study?
Social psychology and recreational management. And I actually thought that my career would be in recreational management. And I I did sort of have a career in recreational management, but it was all in a volunteer capacity. I started the St. Louis Ultimate Association, which is a not-for-profit entity that coordinates the sport of ultimate frisbee. It's a team sport, um, played
I
with a
love it.
frisbee. Yeah.
I played, down at Forest Park a couple years ago, one summer.
Okay. Okay. Well, we had leagues in Forest Park and Heman Park and out in West County, and there's leagues even over in Illinois. They're in high schools. We have co-ed leagues, competitive leagues, recreational leagues, women's leagues, and then from those leagues, then sprout competitive teams that participate in sectionals, regionals, and nationals, even worlds.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Alex, he was playing professional or semi-pro, or like he'd go out to Indianapolis to play on their team. So he
Yeah.
would drive 5 hours to practice, and then he'd drive over there for games and, just every week. It's like, "Oh my gosh, this is
Right.
nuts."
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't pay very much.
Oh, it pays?
It does pay, but mostly it's like covering your expenses for travel and providing you with your uniforms and your cleats and whatnot. But it's certainly evolved since we started.
So you started that here?
So I started the organization here, and was on the board, helping run the activities along with a whole herd of volunteers. But I did it for 26 years, so that's definitely a career in
Oh my
recreational
god.
management. And it wasn't until many decades into it that I realized, oh, I did have a career in recreational management. I just didn't realize it.
'Cause I was gonna say that is management of fun. Um,
Yeah.
interesting word choices to put there. I manage fun. Okay. Hmm.
Yes, fun is such an important part of life that is undervalued, especially when people are talking about, their career choice and whatnot. And if you don't have fun, if you don't have relationships with the people that you work with and enjoy their company, it's going to be miserable, and you're not going to have a happy life.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So, Dana, in my if you go to like kevinderagi.com, I have like some assessment tools, right? I call it snapshots, like the old Polaroid pictures. I do one in real estate where it's like, okay, here's three main areas. If you're trying to get into it, you have your like uh what's your money situation?
Mhm.
What is your knowledge base? And then like who do you know? What is your network? But then based on that, it's like, okay, you should go into this, or here's some options for you.
Mhm.
But I have magnifiers. So, if it's a plain type situation, you have like passion and you have grit, like determination, like, are you willing to grind it out? And that really fills out and kind of makes it more of a sphere instead of just a flat line. On my personal assessment, since we do have like our three main tenants is the most important real estate is between your ears, your personal drives your professional, and it's all about relationships. Like, that's kind of our premise in looking at life, and
Mhm.
everything we do, and
Mhm.
that's where it's like, you bring up fun, which is why I asked this. So, in our assessment on the personal side, right, we have our 3 main relationships: relationship with self, relationship with others, and relationship with things. And each of those breaks in there's 12 total breaks. And all of that is fantastic, but what it doesn't really do, which, to use that kind of pump out the flat to a ball, is, are you happy? Are you having fun? Like, that is a whole side of it,
Mhm.
because there's some people who don't have a lot of the high parts, but they're
Mhm.
enjoying their life.
Mhm.
Great. We need to show that that's a side of it. And then the other side, I would say, if there's more to it, would be, are you living a purpose? Like, do you feel like you're fulfilled?
Mhm.
And there's people who work in nonprofits or industries where they're giving, where they have a very much purpose-driven life, even though they may not have the riches, the money, the prestige, but they are serving at like, think of, Mother Teresa, or like, they are serving on such a high level that
Mhm.
now their leadership, their thumbprints of, their identity are left for generations, like, that's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
So I think it's pretty cool how that some of that stuff works. So I'm glad you brought up the happy side of it, the fun side. All right, so you got into real estate because, well, things got nuts there in
Right.
the early 2000s, and that's roughly when I was breaking into full time the industry, right? So
Okay.
I was doing it before, and then so I've kind of been there too, and it's funny, there's a lot of people who make money in the stocks and they look at their returns, and then you look at your Enrons or some stuff like that, and you're like, "What do you have left?" I have a piece of paper, like,
Right.
and
And
even back
nowadays, you don't even get a piece of paper, you know?
yeah, actually, I got, some stocks. Actually, I'll show you. I found in, one of my houses, some old stock, so, like, it's actually it's a physical stock.
Right.
So I now own a piece of that business. I mean, is it worth anything? No, not really. But it's also just like, oh, how cool is that? I love finding. I go treasure hunting in all the houses I buy. I love it.
Artifacts.
Yes, and I think if you look like so, there's this is something from a house. There's all these little pieces that come from just fun. It's
I
just
once found a diamond ring, uh, stuck behind the baseboard behind a clawfoot tub. So, I was doing some deep cleaning to have found that.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
right. I gave it to my sister. She still wears it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, the first house I ever flipped in North Carolina, we ended up stripping all the walls down to the studs, and in one of them, when I ripped it out, the homeowner broke a hole in the wall. I think he punched it, put in all of his wife's credit cards, and then plastered over it, 'cause they're going in debt. Like, it was a bad situation. So, yeah, it was just one of those, like, I understand this struggle, like, this is how you thought you would, uh
Stop the spending.
so, yeah, that's one way to do it, right? Alright, so here you are, a management of fun, you got into rentals, so, like, that's how you got into real estate was,
Mhm.
owning something, right? The housing stock, to say it a different way. Um,
Mhm.
along that way, like, did you become an agent? Did you become an investor? Did you start flipping? How did that evolve?
Um, it, I never became an agent, although it has been suggested on numerous occasions. I just I'm very much because of that experience with, uh, wanting something tangible, I always make a habit of getting to know the neighbors, and I know most every single family on my block, and, I have purchased the 4 family across the street from my house. I purchased a single family home across the alley. Um, and, um, and then early on, I had purchased, a 4 family that is, with it's like a 10-minute walk away, and that one I did not have a connection before I purchased. That was with the help of, an agent, Matt Castor, Real Estate Society,
Yeah,
great guy.
I just had lunch
Um,
with them.
but the key was in just having relationships and, wanting to really control my investment and also wanting to know my neighbors and wanting to build community. And I've had someone my goddaughter's husband once was describing what I do to someone because I have many pursuits. And he said, Dana Gray, she's a community builder.
Ooh, I like it.
And so that I think is a key to what I do, and because I value relationships so much, and that has really been key to um, my real estate investing, in that I'm buying what I can see from my house, from my front door, from my back door, and building my neighborhood one person, one family at a time. And I view those relationships as very important, as opposed to someone that, just looks for a check and only has email or text communications. I invite my tenants to my home for breakfast or coffee, or um, we have 2 block parties a year, and they all are invited and encouraged to participate. Um, I'm also a gardener, and in my property across the street, the 4 family, it's a big lot, and I have created an urban orchard. And when I am advertising for that property, and for the property, the single family home across the alley, which I've extensively landscaped and got many raised beds, um, I advertise for people that want to garden. And then there's an interview process, which I know a lot of people would think is crazy, but I ask them, what are they growing right now? What are you growing now? What do you plan to grow in the spring? What was your harvest like last season? Um, because I want to build a community where people value our food systems. We want to support each other. I encourage all the families with children to learn about what I'm growing on the property. And from May through October, all the families with kids and strollers, they all stop at the property and they pick raspberries, because I have 2 hedges of raspberries on either side of the property. And so I'm known as the lady that grows the raspberries, and these children are learning about where food comes from. And I just 2 days ago, one of the moms came over and she helped me divide raspberries and replant raspberries in the spots that were needed some filling in. So, and we are talking now about doing canning together this season. So I value community very much.
Hey friends, it's Kevin. I just want to say thank you to Red Maples Construction. Yeah, Jason Hudson and Dave have been fantastic. They do all the rehabs when we come in and flip these houses, either for rentals or for repair, rentals or rehab. They're the guys that come in and just, I know it's taken care of because they're on it. So I just want to say thank you for what you guys do. They even do residential housing. So if you have something else that you're doing, they will help you out at there as well. Give them a holler, 314-312-2147. Thanks again, guys. Now let's get back to real life real estate. I love it. Love it. So I love to grow. Last year, my arm went numb, right? I had a pinched nerve, so I lost really the use of my right arm, which sucks because I'm right dominant. So my garden was turned it over once, not much, light harvest, right? And it's one of the things I love doing is watering the garden in the morning and the evening, watching things grow. It's why I like being involved in people's lives because it's the same stuff, right? I see how, I mean, I'll just say it. God talks to me through a garden, right? So if there's an arm that's not producing, okay, we're gonna trim that back. Sometimes it's the wind and all the troubles actually make the plant more sturdy, like it's able to
Right.
produce more because it's seen more, because it's had
It's
struggles.
getting exercise.
So it's one of those like, okay, I get it. Like it's like, Kevin, you're getting prunes. Like, hey, just work on this. Like on tomato plants, you got to bury it farther down so it has the root system, it has the foundation to become successful up here. So many life iterations are really just showing themselves out through plants. So I love it. Oh gosh, what is your favorite plant? What do you like seeing?
Um, I really like peaches, but I have not gotten great harvest from my peach trees, because, the squirrels and the rabbits and the birds get to them before I do. The raspberries are my best producers, and they spread on their own and, send up more sprouts. So I think I like the raspberries the best because they are the best producers.
We're looking at planting, what is it, elderberry? Is that the right
Mhm.
word?
Yes.
My
Mhm.
brother-in-law has some, and they're fast growers, and, like, so we wanna make a instead of putting up a fence, we're gonna do an organic wall, and apparently elderberry is really good for that. So,
Mhm. They get big, so you need to have plenty of space.
but that's the goal is,
Alright.
because my wife wants, like, a 20-foot tree just there tomorrow. It's like, "Okay, it doesn't quite work like that."
Yeah.
Like, give it time. We planted, like, 20 or so, like, bald cypress there. We got a little creek in the back. But it's like, okay, they might grow a foot a year. It's gonna take a minute before it gets there, so
Right.
I love
Gardening
it.
is an exercise in delayed gratification, much like real estate.
Much like real estate. Have you ever got into flipping, or is it primarily just buy and hold?
Primarily buy and hold. Early on, I did buy a home up in, Hanley Hills
Mhm.
that I, remodeled and sold, and I did all of the work myself, and, I that helped me learn that I needed to have my real estate, holdings very close to my house. That was that was the lesson there, and, um, and I'm much better suited to have, um, property that I just hold me long term.
So, we just had this talk, I was talking with somebody yesterday about, do you wanna have your rentals like, do you want your neighbor to be a rental, or do you want that to be in a separate area? Like, do you
Mhm.
let them know who you are? Well, I mean, I know your answer here. But that's where, like, you feel listening to what you're saying, Dana, you underline the community builder concept. I want my properties to be next to me. I am actively engaged in their lives. They know mine. I know theirs. Community, right? Where in some cases, I'll do flips around me, but I don't know if I want my neighbor to be my tenant because they see my world, I see theirs, and sometimes you want that separation of business and friendships and what if they can't pay? Are you giving them leeway? Do you have any of those problems? Um,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and then how do you handle that?
Every situation is different. I try to have empathy and, compassion, and I try to find resources to help them, and that's where the value of having a relationship with your tenants comes into play, because if you don't have a relationship, then they are not going to be compelled to share with you what their situation is and why they have experienced a hardship. Um, because I have been employed by Tower Grove Community Development Corporation, and working in the affordable housing realm, I have had, a lot of connections to resources for folks that, experience hardship in some way. And whether it be, they need utility assistance, or they need rental assistance, or perhaps they need, financial coaching. Those are all things that I can connect them to. So that's been really helpful. Um, and when my tenants go on to move out because they're buying a home, that is a celebration. I think that then I have, um, succeeded in my role in helping them, uh, learn about home ownership, because I try to be, forthcoming about things that are occurring, and like, how much did that roof cost? Or, I'm having a really hard time finding contractors because there's a scarcity of contractors. So I let, I let, my tenants know what's going on in my world as well in terms of property management so that they are better equipped to become homeowners. And the tenant screening service that I use, Home Screen, um, does offer financial training or financial coaching to everyone that goes through the training, the screening process. The Home Screen has a relationship with Prosperity Connections and LifeWise, and so every tenant that is screened will see on the application, would you like to partake in financial coaching? And it's free of charge. All you have to do is check a box, and then you are connected to that agency.
Hmm.
So I don't know what tenants do that. I don't necessarily ask them, but it's available. So I like to think of myself as sort of a cheerleader and resource provider to help people achieve their dreams.
So, which lines up when Jake gave me the brief about who you are and kind of the stuff, he used the word altruistic. And I have a working definition of what I think about it, but why do you think people would consider you altruistic, and like how do you incorporate that into a business?
Uh, um, I I I don't know that I've necessarily thought of it in that way as that it's a part of my business. I guess it's more about who I am and what what it goes back to the golden rule of treat people as you wish to be treated. And we all want to have a home and a safe place to live and um comforts and whatnot, but we all experience hardships and need help from time to time. And it it's certainly, we can't expect that you're never going to experience hardship. So I have worked with not-for-profits most all of my life, and started and ran a not-for-profit as a volunteer for 26 years. And I volunteer for not-for-profits. Um, and then I have my own business and consulting company and manage my rental properties. So it's just sort of interwoven in everything rather than it being a driving force of how I build my business, I guess. Does that
Well,
answer the
I think
question?
well, somewhere in you, it is your foundation is built on giving back, and everybody deserves a chance, and how can I help other people? So like if you reverse engineer that, do you know where it came from? Was it your parents? Was it a mentor, a guide? Was it just always there? Was it a faith-based thing? Like what do you think kind of gave you that little disposition?
Um I had awesome parents, and step-parents. My parents divorced when I was 5 years old, and they remarried, and my step-parents are both awesome, so they, were very giving and, but none of them were involved in not-for-profit work or necessarily volunteering. I did I did have, a personal crises. When I was 32 years old, my husband, this was a first husband, we went to a party and we were on a second floor balcony and the balcony railing collapsed and my husband fell and he had a traumatic brain injury and um, it changed him and our life in a flash. We lost everything, and he was changed forever, and he became very violent, and uh, it ended our marriage. I had to leave in order to save my life. But it so I left. I had $112 in my bank account, and my friends gave me their couches to sleep on, and just blessed me with kindness and generosity until I was able to get back on my feet. And so, without the support of others, I wouldn't be here where I am today. And without my family just rallying around me with emotional support, I wouldn't be here. So, so I feel like, you have to give back. Everyone will go through a hardship at some point, and if it's not through the grace of others, um, we none of us would survive.
Dana, I am sorry you had to go through that, but think of how many people you've helped because you have gone through that.
Right.
Phew.
It's humbling, and you realize that you have to rely on others, and you have to, in turn, give.
We do a lot of talk here about Eadsbridge and forging moments, right? Um, and just not to go into this too deep, but forging moments like for Eadsbridge here in St. Louis, the building materials at the time were wood, stone, and iron. And that just
Mhm,
wasn't sufficient to build that bridge, right? It's too long, the currents, all the stuff. It just needed more. What had to happen there was turning iron into steel. And that is where you put in additives, right? Things that make it stronger. There's heat, right? There's a lot of difficult situations, and you have to take out impurities, right? What are the bad habits? What are the bad things in this iron to be able to make it into steel? Steel had the capabilities of building this bridge that's still here. I mean, it was built post Civil War, so I mean that's a pretty long time ago, and it's still here in today's world, and it was built in a time that 1 in 4 bridges fail. So, like, the fact that it's still here and still in use is a pretty big deal. It's awesome. Um, but it was that forging moment that the guy who, managed that, do you know who, managed the not the guy who
mhm.
designed it, uh, Andrew Carnegie,
Oh,
who took that forging moment, right, turning iron into steel, and then he built an empire out of it, right?
uh-huh.
First with the railroads and then structural steel, literally building our cities all here based on his interaction because of Eads Bridge. Fascinating story, right? Um, that's why I love like real life situations more than fiction. Like once you play it out, it's like, dude, I get it, and like kinda I don't wanna say like you, but he was there, he had bills to pay that he didn't have the money to pay it, when this stuff was going on, but because he dug in and was doing all this stuff, he was able to turn around and build literally cities everywhere. He
Mhm,
changed the landscape of America because of his forging moments, literally and figuratively. And now reverse engineer that to your story, right? Your forging moment very well could have been your first husband's accident, and
mhm,
it's like, think of all the good you've done because of that one bad event. Uh,
mhm.
Using the garden analogy we had earlier, that's a lot of weathering you did. That's a lot of pruning down to $112. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Right?
Um, but I think part of it is also it is humbling, but also so valuable to find out that call for help. Like, Dana, I need help. Can you help me? Not because
Mhm,
I'm lazy, not because but like a genuine like situation happened. Because most of the time, I think people really do want to help, but
mhm,
they don't know how to help each other.
mhm,
Whether it's a hug, whether it's love, whether it's a couch, like what is it that you need? And if you
mhm,
don't ask, how can we give it to you? Uh,
mhm.
I think that's fascinating. Um, but it's also very humbling. Did
Yes.
you find it hard to reach out for help?
I had no alternative.
Which we talk about in some of our other episodes, but it's that bottom. Sometimes being at rock bottom is a great place to be because it makes you do those things. I had
Mhm,
no other alternative.
mhm.
What's the worst you could do? Step up. Like it gives you
Right.
something now to reach up. Um, all right. if you're talking to somebody who's at a rock bottom in any situation, right? Whether it's a
Mhm.
relationship, whether it's money, whether it's a career, somebody's at rock bottom. What's some advice that you could give to that person?
To reach out, to ask for help, to build community, to I think that, um, having community and having friendships and strong relationships with your family and those around you is what will help sustain you. And
Hands down.
yeah, asking for help. I read a lovely book not long ago that I forget the title, but, one of the characters, um, says that asking for help is one of the bravest things you can do.
Mm, dang.
Yeah.
Go write that one down. So, have you had any other forging moments as you're building your communities, as you're doing this stuff? Have you come across other struggles that you needed help or that you overcame?
Uh,
I mean, that's a pretty significant one, but I'm
that's
just
a significant one. I mean, there's so many things that you could consider a struggle, but, I think just having a positive, optimistic attitude, um is what also propels me, and could propel anyone is by being optimistic as opposed to pessimistic, seeing the glass half full as opposed to half empty, and seeing changes as opportunities.
I think we're similar there. We're both optimistic people.
Mhm.
What's hard is when you're dealing with somebody else that isn't. Like,
Right,
I think we're just made that way.
right.
And I think maybe 2 or 3 times a year I'll have a low day. It doesn't last long, but it's just one of those like, "Ah, I thought I would be here and I'm only here," or I thought I
Right.
would. And how when you have one of those days, because 'cause I'm sure you do too, how do
Mhm.
you get through it? Like,
Go for a bike ride, go outside, go sailing, go just take my dog for a walk, go play in my garden. Just be outside. Yeah, just it helps clear your mind and, connect you with the universe and, um, appreciate small things.
great answer. Hey friends, it's Kevin. I just want to say thank you to Greg Mans of Upright Construction. Greg does all my exteriors for siding, roofs, fascia, soffit, gutters, all that stuff. He is fantastic. He is on it. He works well with insurance. He works well with investors like me and homeowners. Highly personable, huge customer service. You're going to love him. Huge personality. So Greg said if you mention Kevin Duragi show, that he'll knock off 10% of your labor bill. So how is that? That's fantastic. Greg is old school, so call or text Greg at 314-374-1343. And if you're going to do it upright. Back to the show. I also, you can't see it here, but I have I made a little board of all like thank you notes that I've done. Like I'll look at that and be like, okay, wait, I am making a difference. It is like, but
Mhm,
you're right. Getting out, just the garden thing is fantastic. Like I'll notice I'll clean the garage or something. Like I need to create my environment in a better space. So there's little things where it's like, okay, like, okay, here we go. Like just
mhm,
able to give yourself a moment. Um, awesome. Hey, so tell me about the Tower Grove stuff that you do. So,
mhm.
my friend runs Tower Grove Park, Bill. Like
Oh,
he became the guy there.
mhm.
Love it. I love what he's doing. It's a fantastic park. There's so much history. Like, what do you do in that park? How do you give back? How does it help you?
So, the not-for-profit organization that I work for, and I'm working there now, in simply a subcontracting role. Um, but it's Tower Grove Community Development Corporation, so it's not affiliated with the park.
Okay.
But the organization was initially a merger of three different housing corporations that are all geographically tied to the neighborhoods surrounding Tower Grove Park. The Southwest Garden neighborhood, the Shaw neighborhood, and Tower Grove South neighborhood. So that's how the name came about. Um, uh, 2 years ago, the organization, changed their bylaws or focus so that the organization can work in um, any neighborhood in, like, our region where the organization is invited and it makes financial sense. So, the organization is now, embarking on, housing redevelopment in, Bevo and Dutchtown, and, my work there has really centered on, um, landlord and rehabber training. I've
Ooh.
coordinated, landlord and rehabber training every year, offering free workshops, and, um most of the time I bring in other speakers. I come up with, topics that we're gonna focus on that are essential to investing in real estate, owning, managing, rehabbing, and, I will bring in speakers to talk about those topics, um, and usually, the workshop is an hour, 2 hours long, um, and the other things that I've focused on are, grant writing. I write lots of grants and then do the reporting, and, I've worked for 10 years on energy policy, and worked in coalition that was called the Energy Efficiency for All initiative, and we focused on improving energy efficiency across the state in affordable multifamily housing. Unfortunately, the granting for that initiative ended, so that led to my transition to a subcontractor role. But like I said, I'm still engaged, with grant writing, and, we are going to be launching our landlord and rehabber training program later this year for 2026.
My sister does some grant writing or has. Oh my gosh, that is a different form of writing. I do
Yeah,
not envy sitting down and doing that at all.
yeah.
Um, and that's awesome that you got into energy efficiency. So, like, are you looking at like windows and doors and roofs and solar panels, or what other stuff are you guys looking at?
Mostly just the energy efficiency. So, sealing up the home, insulation, windows, improving the HVAC systems, uh, perhaps, converting gas appliances to electric appliances to improve the indoor air quality. Um, but mostly it's just energy efficiency, not renewables. Um, because we're focused on affordable multifamily housing, the renewables don't really make sense necessarily, um, partially because of the way energy is regulated in Missouri. As a landlord, I cannot put solar panels on a multifamily dwelling and then, um, resell the energy that is generated to my tenants.
Really?
Yeah. So it only makes sense to put solar, um, on to produce energy for the common areas. Um, and I don't have big properties that I have common areas that I need to
Yeah, I
create
think mine is
energy
like,
for.
it's like the little 4x4 square, either go this way or this way. Like, that's not worth
Right,
the
right, right.
cost of.
Um, so other states you can do that. Now, uh, I've had numerous conversations, and, perhaps it could be reframed in that you, uh, bill for reimbursement. Um,
Or you could just
but
increase your rent and say electric is part of it.
true. Yeah, so it's just that, my I try to keep my rents very affordable, and again, the focus has been on affordable housing and impacting policy for affordable housing, that in investing in renewables, has not made financial sense.
It sounds like we have a lot in common on a lot of this stuff. So no wonder Jake wanted to connect us. So I think that's pretty awesome. Um, yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, just looking at what you're doing, if you
Uh,
did get your license, you can actually help the people who transition out of your units into a new home, and you could,
mhm,
you're already a trusted resource for them. That could just be another way that you kind of add it because you're already doing all the work. Whether it's on the nonprofit side, whether it's as the investor, you're already doing the work
mhm.
with the trust building and all that stuff. It's just whether or not you want to or not. So what do you think your next steps are? Like, what do you think you're gonna to get into now? Are you
I
looking at buying more units? Are you looking at helping more people? Like, what do you think it is?
I'm trying to focus more now on, my consulting, um, services. I offer fine art appraisals, and I think that was, something that I've been doing for, um, the longest.
Fine
Uh,
arts?
yeah, working in the arts. That was my career with the first husband. We had a gallery, and so when I left the marriage and our business, I decided that I didn't want to have a gallery, but I wanted to stay connected to the art world, and so started doing art appraisals. And so I still do that, and I'm working on a couple of appraisal projects right now. And then I also uh I secure locations for commercial and film projects. So let's say you're advertising your product, whatever that might be, and you want to have a commercial shot and have a home that is featuring that product and showing a family interacting with your product. I would secure the house for you. And, but it could be a warehouse, it could be a business, it could be a coffee shop, it could be a country road, it could be a farm, whatever real estate need is for that film or still photography venture, that's what I secure. Um, and then just in
How do you stumble
managing,
across that?
um,
Because you're a broker of like knowledge of locations. Like,
yes,
how?
yes.
Okay.
Um, so there was a feature film being produced in Missouri 20 years ago. That was the largest budgeted film ever created in the state, and my friend Dan Kincaid was the location manager, and it was a project bigger than he could manage on his own. So, he knew I worked for myself, and he said, "Hey, could you spare some time and come help me on this project?" And so I worked with them for 6 months, and that's how I got my start doing that work. I
Oh
know
my gosh.
it's a weird
Yeah.
niche thing, but, it's totally related to my connection to real estate, my connection to community, and being tied to, um, business associations and knowing people with businesses. And yeah, I don't know, it's a weird niche that I fell into, and I'm very well suited for it.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah, so
Uh,
then also just my rental property. I mean, I'm spending more time doing some work that needs attention, like the landscaping. And today later I need to go paint the exterior of a clawfoot tub, and I refinished a hardwood floor um 2 weeks ago, and painting and the stuff.
so you do some of that stuff still yourself.
I do. I have more time now, and so rather than paying somebody else to do it, I'm paying myself.
Lovely. Uh, that's awesome. Dana, it's been fantastic chatting with you, seeing all these initiatives and things that you got into. Did not see the consulting of fine arts or the connecting of dots of filming locations as where this was going to go today. So that is kind of interesting. Like people talk about like getting into real estate. How did you know where to go? Like in my world, it was a shotgun approach in the beginning. Like
Right.
I'm just going to try all this stuff, but they're all their own little businesses.
Yes.
Wholesaling is its own business, flipping is its own business, rentals is its own business. Just expecting to do and being an agent is its own, expecting that all of this stuff will make sense right away is not true. And
Right.
then, like, once you turn the light on, like, yes, I'll be an entrepreneur, I think the universe, God, whatever words you want to use, will give you opportunities to be like, oh, I'll take this one. But you don't know it until you open up that world. There's so many opportunities. You
Mhm.
just don't know until you start who you're going to meet and which relationship is really going to be valuable.
Right. And, I mean, I just consider myself a business person and, uh, yeah, I just look at, okay, well, does that sound interesting? Can I make some money? Is it worthwhile? Is it worth my time? Like, is it worth my time taking on a venture, whatever venture that might be, to offer that service through my consulting company? Or is it better if I just go refinish that floor that I would pay $2,000 to
Yeah.
someone to do? And instead of taking on the venture for somebody else, I'm essentially paying myself to do the work on my own property. So it's deciding what you want to do, what you have the skill set to do, and what is interesting, and also the learning curve. Because there's some things that I've decided I would take too long for me to figure that out, and I need to just pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah. I do not want this learning curve. Not
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So, Dana, we are wrapping up here, but here's a couple questions that I'm just curious about.
Okay.
Um, if you could go back and give your former self some advice, right? So, young Dana, or just getting into real estate, maybe just getting into, or maybe the Dana that just had a husband fall off a roof, right? What advice would you give yourself or somebody like you going through that?
Stay optimistic. When you're having troubles, it will pass. Um, Lean on your friends, ask for help, and keep the faith.
Um, is there a quote? Is there a book? Is there a song? Is there a poem? Is there uh, something that you lean on when you're having a hard day, right? Is there something you're like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
remember that, and you turn and like gives you the strength to keep going.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then I also just tell myself I can do whatever I wanna do.
I like it. Did you see that? I think it was Tom Hanks sitting around like high actors, and he basically is this too shall pass. Like the good days where you're on top of the world, you just get an award or something. This too shall pass. The bad
Right.
days when you get looked over, when you just this too shall pass.
Yeah.
It's one of those like, you know what? There's so much truth to that.
Yes.
Highs and lows, like it really is a process. So I love it.
Yes.
Dana, is there any final words or thoughts that you want to leave people with?
Um I'm available for sharing resources if you want to invest in real estate, especially here in St. Louis. That's where I'm based, and that's where I am looking to continue to build community and provide resources and encouragement, cheering people on to do just that. So reach out to Tower Grove Community Development Corporation for that endeavor. And otherwise, hope to see you around the neighborhood.
What a great answer there. So what is how do they get a hold of you?
Tower Grove. For the real estate ventures, definitely through Tower Grove Community Development Corporation, because that's where we will be offering the free landlord and rehabber training programs.
Dana, I love it. I am so glad I had a chance to talk with you today. Thank you for jumping on and sharing your life, your story, and kind of your commitment to the community. So I love it, and hopefully, our relationship too can grow.
Yes. Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, hey friends, you just love Dana Gray. I thought she was fantastic. Found out so many things that we have in common, our optimism, stuff like that. She got into real estate because of stocks, right? Stocks went down during the big 2008, that whole scare there. And she wanted something hard, like a hard asset for her wealth creation. And that's a little bit of how she transitioned into real estate, primarily buy and holds. And unlike a lot of people, like even myself, she is buying her neighbors' houses. Like she is putting her tenants right next to her and really is that community builder. So it's just really, really awesome to see what she is doing there. Started the Ultimate Frisbee Club here in St. Louis, which is a huge deal, something that I've actually participated in. I just think it's fantastic what she's doing there. She has a community garden. If you guys don't know this, I love growing stuff. I just love it. So much shared stuff there. In fact, it's probably this weekend and whatnot, I'll be prepping my garden here for our spring growing season. So I kind of gave some excitement there. She loves raspberries. We're doing elderberries, but dude, her foraging moment. Did you guys hear that? Husband at a party fell off of a porch, fell, head injury, traumatic event, becomes angry, just couldn't do it anymore. Started her new life with $112 and asking for help. And because of that, she turns around and starts helping all these people because of that moment. I love it. And sometimes, yeah, we were talking about rock bottom, and sometimes that's a great place to be because it forces you to ask for help. People want to help you. They just sometimes don't know how to do it. Talk about getting over bad days, get outside, go for a bike ride, go for a walk, just go out there, get part of nature and just kind of let it happen. So many wonderful resources she has, so many layers of Miss Dana that we didn't know about. Her consulting business, tracking down filming spots for different people, whether it's a dusty road or a house or a warehouse. That she's a consultant for fine arts. Like, this is wonderful to find out all this stuff. And guys, I love it. This too shall pass. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed learning about Miss Dana as much as I do. And this too shall pass. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of our show. I love you guys. We'll see you soon. Hey friends, this is Kevin. For more information for our vendors, just go to our link tree or any of these little clicks here. You could get it. I'm going to finish you off with some positive affirmations so you could get ready for your day. I am a leader. I make a difference. I add value. My words have power. I know God and He loves me. I am a leader. I raise people up, not tear them down. Today is my best day. I change lives. I live abundantly. I am a money magnet. I am alive, and I am a force for good. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and remember, dream big, act accordingly.